Well, hey there, everyone, and welcome to today's VIP Trade Room with Roger Scott and Matt Horton. My name is Raleigh White, and I'm coming to you live from a beautiful day here in Austin, Texas, and I'm going to be your moderator today. Now, in today's session, Roger's going to be covering a range of important topics with a focus on his signature trading platform, the Pro Trader Dashboard. Now, from that perspective, here are some of the things that Roger's going to be covering today: how to scan for short-term and overnight setups using the Pro Trader Dashboard, Roger's favorite high probability setups. What do all of Roger's setups have in common? I like these 2 points here because Roger's going to be talking about what his A-plus setup is. He's also going to share how to select stocks when we have several of them in the same sector and they're all looking good. How do you decide which one to select? He's also going to talk about how you transition from a stock setup and how to choose the most appropriate option trade, whether it's a regular option or a debit spread or a credit spread, one of the most often asked questions that he gets. He's also going to talk about how to trade grinders to the downside. And from the mailbag, he's going to answer the question where and how to anchor your VWAP. Now, if you've got any questions during Roger's presentation, please type them in the chat window and we'll address them periodically throughout the session so as not to interfere with Roger's presentation. And remember, folks, the chat's going to be open to everyone, and we do have a few ground rules. Always be kind. Keep to the topic. No political discussions at all. And remember that we are a 100% supportive trading community, and we're here to help each other become more confident and consistent in our trading activities. Now, this morning at 8 o'clock, when Roger opened up and gave us his pre-market view, he talked about the fact that the market was fragmented. And what he meant by that is when you see like the Dow down and the NASDAQ up, that's a fragmentation that tells him that, the market's not going to have much direction today. When he looked at the sectors, he noticed that they were mixed with no tech leaders there to drive the market. As a matter of fact, defensive stocks were at the top of the list. He did indicate that soft tech and consumer discretionary stocks were doing extremely well, but hard tech, not so much. And so from that perspective, no directional bias. He noticed that there were very few companies making new highs, new lows. Everything was just sort of like in that middle ground. And guys, if I sound like a broken record, you're right. Ever since I started in this position, almost for the past 3 weeks, this has been the same story virtually every day through August and into December. And as Roger says, seasonally speaking, these are very, very slow months. Now, he did also note that the VIX was moving lower towards the 50-day EMA, but, the bonds in the US dollars were sort of so-so, and this is all pre-market, but something to keep an eye on. He did note that the SPY was higher above the 8-day EMA, and the question was, is it stay there, and will it consolidate and actually move higher? On the flip side, though, the QQQ, the SMH, and the Dow were all below the 8-day EMA, and that is kind of holding the stock market back just a little bit. All eyes from institution perspective is on Friday's monthly employment report. That's coming out tomorrow at 8:30, and it's going to be, tomorrow morning, and it's going to have a significant impact on the market. So everybody's holding their breath for that. And as normal, he basically advised against don't take any trades before 10 a.m. today. There are some Fed reports that are coming out, which takes me right to our catalysts. The 4 catalysts today were on Fed data. We had the ADP, PMI, and ISM data coming out at 10 o'clock. And then later on this afternoon, we have a couple of FOMC members that are speaking. Other catalysts, tech sector. Hewlett-Packard was up 5%. And so once again, is that going to lift those boats, if you will? On the retail side, American Eagle was up 25% pre-market. And as Roger says, when it comes to retail, they tend to move together. So that could bode well for the retail sector. And on consumer discretionaries, Salesforce, CRM, was down 5%. Once again, waiting a bit on hard tech. Now, as far as the small cap watch list is concerned, Roger identified 3 stocks that came up for him, and I'm going to go ahead and put those in the chat panel so that you can all see those. And once again, those were BRIA, BRIA, above 7.65, PPBT above 260, and NCI above 305. I took a quick look at those before I came on today, and none of those are approaching those levels at this point. Now, remember, with these small caps, the key to his selection process is price action and volume. The two of those have to be happening together pre-market for him to consider and sharing those small cap opportunities. And remember, small caps are not market dependent. That volume is driven by retail traders and not institutions, and to only trade these issues during the normal market hours. And if, once again, you're not at those levels, or you're not in a good position to take a trade by around what, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, forget about it, right? Just forget about it and wait till the next day. Roger expects these small caps to pop pretty shortly after the open of the market to take advantage of the pre-market volume. But if it doesn't happen, just forget about it and move on. He also shared with us several long and short stocks that he liked today on his watch list. And I've just gone ahead and put that in the chat window for you all to see. And once again, I love that Roger does this. He doesn't just spit these out. He brings each one of the tickers up, shows you on the chart, points to specific levels, and warns everybody that if you're going to go short or long on any of the stocks, please make sure that they are clearly either breaking down or breaking up. So once again today, welcome to the VIP Trade Room. On the agenda today, scanning for short-term and overnight setups using the Pro Trader dashboard. Roger's going to share his favorite high probability setup and what all of his setups have in common. And I love this because he's going to tell you what makes an A-plus trade in his mind. He's also going to show you how to select stocks if you've got several stocks that are in the same sector and they're all looking good. He's going to share how you can transition from a stock setup to the most appropriate option trade, whether it's a normal option or a credit or a debit spread, which happens to be one of the most often asked questions that we get. He's also going to tell us how to trade grinders to the downside, and from the mailbag, where do you anchor the VWAP? And with that, let's say hi to Roger. Let's say hi to Matt. Guys, it's great to see you today. Here we are, midday. Roger, what do you think? What do you think about what's going on at this point in time? Any surprises from your perspective?
Yeah, actually, there is a surprise, and that is the fact it's a good surprise. It's the fact that here, let me share my screen and I'll show you. I'm very happy to see this actually. I like the fact that the QQQ is making its way above the 8-day EMA.
Yes.
Because this morning it was a little bit below while the SPY was above, and I said, folks, the big thing today is going to be whether we go above or below the QQQ, because it was struggling this morning. So this is a very pleasant surprise. I'm very happy to see this, especially ahead of a big report that's coming out tomorrow. And folks, be really, really careful today. Just overall, before I forget, this has nothing to do with anything specific, but generally speaking, be very careful, especially with financials and consumer discretionary stocks, because financial report, jobs report, consumer discretionary, and obviously financials. So you got to be really careful if you're in those stocks going into tomorrow. So that's really the only thing that's surprising me. Other than that, nothing really surprising. Another surprise is we're still continuing to see momentum. We haven't stopped, but that's not surprising after this. And by the way, remember somebody with my initials told you about how we bottomed out right there. When we were bottoming out, I said, look, we touched that level, and it works exactly the same way to the upside and downside. That's why I didn't start putting on shorts around here. I figured we're probably going to bounce back. So this is a very nice surprise. We filled the gap completely. The question is, how much more upside will we get before we start cooling off? Because I can draw a line connecting these together, and it'll stop somewhere right here, right? As a matter of fact, I'll actually do it on my TC2000. Let me turn it on, and you guys will see exactly what the danger is right now. Here we go. All right. Also, AVGO is coming out with earnings after the market closes or tomorrow morning. So don't go hot and heavy into chip stocks as well. We're in a very delicate situation right now ahead of tomorrow's report because it's going to be a big report. Okay, so here's the QQQ. Here's the 8-day EMA right here, right? So let me just show you what I'm fearful of. Sometimes explaining it is much easier than, showing it is much easier than explaining it. See that? So in theory, then we're not there yet, but we're right here above we're coming up from the 8-day EMA. We got a high volume candle right there. Okay? So there's a resistance area right there. A strong resistance area right there. And we're coming up to this. So you can theoretically have a really strong day tomorrow. And folks, you should be paying attention with both ears open right now. Uh, we can right now come all the way up here tomorrow, which will make us look really bullish, and it'll pull up a lot of stocks. And I'm not saying this will happen, but theoretically, we can come all the way up here, come down, and everybody's going to be thinking, "Oh, we're breaking out, we're going to new highs," and we bounce back down here, and we break down, and we go lower, and we continue our descending triangle. So to show you a visual of this, so you don't say I don't draw you Picassos anymore. Picassos, man. They should take my painting license away. I'm such a bad artist. Okay. See, we can come all the way up here, just like that. Right? And then we can bounce off of that level. And this would be a downtrend if we did that. Now, if we break this level above here, we're at a good start. But if we go just up here to this level, and we're only here now, but I'm thinking ahead. If we come up to this level, it doesn't mean anything. We need to break this level with volume, and we're having some okay volume. We got to break this level with volume in order to test this level up here. Okay? Now, I'm gonna do something for you right now. I'm gonna do a little stacking right now. So remember that question, where to anchor your VWAP? Okay, so see how I drew this trend line right here? So let's look and see where the anchor says we should be doing it at. Boom, right there at the 8-day. So our anchor and the 8-day are at the same time. So where do you anchor your VWAP if you're trading pullbacks? To the last swing high. To the last swing high. So for example, let me give you an example. No, that's not a good example. No, it's not a good example. No. Okay, here's a good example. Oops. Okay. That's the swing high, the last swing high, they're about equal, these two right here. So you could just use this one. You could use this one if you want, but they're about equal. So, and if I go right here, I'll end up in the same place. So where do you anchor your VWAP? At the last swing high, at the last swing low, because you're trading a pullback. A pullback from what? The last swing high. So there was a couple of stocks this morning. Let me see if I could. This one, for example. Remember this morning for solar? This was a stock on our watch list. So let me just put it right there. See, it's not ready yet. Once price moves and closes above this level right here, it'll be ready. Let's do another one. We had, I think Orly. No, not Oracle. I don't know why my mouse defaults to Orly. It did it this morning and it's doing it again.
It's like
Orly.
autocorrect, you know?
Yeah, I don't know. Anyways, right here, there's the high. Okay, there you go. See how we're above this area right here? That's perfect. See how all this is noise? By putting a VWAP at the last swing high, it'll keep you away from all the garbage. All the garbage. Which is how we trade quick strikes, just FYI. But I wanted you to see where since we were talking about swings and all that, I just wanted you to see where to anchor your VWAP. All you have to do is look at the last. Think about it. If you're trading a pullback, you're looking for a place to enter where the move is now beyond random. Okay. Okay. So if it's a pullback from something, right? Well, from the last high. So that's where you anchor your VWAP. And the VWAP will tell you when buyers from this point on, what level the price has to be for buyers to get back into control. Now, if you're not using the VWAP and you're good at technicals, you could probably get to the same place. You broke this consolidation, you're above this here, but generally speaking, when you get above this level, that's a good time to get in. You will often find that if you're a technical trader, you will often find that, by the way, I'm keeping my chat closed today because I just have so much stuff to talk about. So my chat is closed. Greetings, good morning, good afternoon, everybody. I just have so much to talk about that I'm just keeping the chat closed. I hope nobody gets offended by that. Okay.
Yeah, and Roger, I will pipe up if there's something critical that comes up that I'd like you to address in the moment. Otherwise,
Yes.
we'll have some times to catch up.
Yeah. So that right there, that right there is something that we're anyway. So I just wanted to answer that question for you guys. And then the second thing I wanted to talk about is the second question was about grinders. I just want to get that out of the way. How to trade grinders to the downside. So I'll show you how to do that. So some of the grinders that we saw, and I'll just go back to this morning because let me just find some. That's not a grinder. That's not a grinder. Not a grinder. Obviously, Murphy's Law never fails, right? QSR. I guess that's a grinder right there. That would probably be a grinder. So when you see a stock moving like this, basically a grinder will be a stock that's moving along the 8-day EMA, just kind of grinding along it, not doing this, KDB, not breaking down, just kind of moving along the 8-day where there's no. See how there's a lot of air here? You look for where it's all price right here, not air. So
I think this morning you had GRND, ironically
GRN.
enough,
Oh,
for
it's
grind,
perfect.
and you were going
Yes.
like, "This is a perfect grind."
Yes, it is. Thank you so much. See, I don't know what I'd do without you. I appreciate that. That's good. That's good. Yeah, it's a perfect grinder. So you see, and let me explain to you the problem. Okay. The problem is when you're trading breakdowns like this, that's a breakdown right here. So if we were trading this price action right here, that's a breakdown. Breakdowns to the downside are great, and I used to do them all the time. But you might have noticed I haven't done any lately, and that's because the stock market keeps making all-time highs. You want to trade breakdowns and aggressively trade to the short side when the stock market is breaking down a key level, like breaking down the 50-day moving average. Then institutions are offloading a lot. Right now, to keep stocks where they're at, market has to constantly be doing this, constantly be doing this, constantly be doing this. Okay. So in that case, the only ones you want to trade are grinders because grinders basically are kind of on their own. They're doing their own thing, but most of it is noise. And if you do a breakdown on a grinder, you'll be stuck. Okay. So what you want to do with a grinder is you basically want to find a stock that's just gyrating back and moving down, obviously, just like this. But notice what happens for the last 2-3 weeks. Every time it comes back to the 8-day, not the 15, the 8-day EMA.
8-day, yeah.
It comes up and then it comes right back down. It comes up and then it comes back down. It comes up and then it comes right down, back down. Well, those are great locations. Those are great locations to sell these things. Now, these are not day trades. Don't day trade. Don't ever day trade this way because why, Roger? Because you're going to be selling when the stock is actually up on the day, which you don't want to do if you're day trading. You never ever want to day trade stocks that are moving against the day trading move. In other words, if you're going to go day trade along, you want to make sure it's up. You short, you want to make sure it's down. You don't want to do the opposite. Swing trading is fine because you may be in the trade for 5, 6, 7 days, and also volume is not as important because you're not day trading. So again, you find a stock that's breaking down the 8-day EMA that's simply breaking down, and you find it when it's goes above the like this. When it goes above the 8-day, you get a signal because you can set an alert to the 8-day EMA right here. You could do it on any program you have, and then you simply wait for it to do to go like this, above and then back down off of the 8-day, and you sell it or buy a put when it comes down back again. That's the best way to trade grinders. Timing is also not as important because you're swing trading, not day trading. All right, what is the question that we have? What is the pressing question that we have?
Okay, so going back just a little bit to the anchored VWAP, people were
Yes.
wondering, Roger, if you could show how to do that on Thinkorswim, because
No,
not
I
every.
can't, but
Okay,
Matt can.
okay,
Matt can. I can't, but Matt can because I'm not. I never do it on Thinkorswim. I don't think I've done it once on Thinkorswim.
okay.
But Matt can show you exactly how to do it. Matt, you want to fetch the screen and show everybody how to do it?
Yeah, the anchor VWAP, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
anchored
how to
VWAP.
do an
Just
anchored
daily.
VWAP
Just go
on.
to daily charts and do an anchored VWAP on
Sure.
Thinkorswim. See, this is why we have three of us in here. Yeah, I'm not. I'm not. I'm
And
not
and
a
by the way,
big.
Roger,
Yeah.
why Matt is doing it? There was another question that came up from Paul, was saying, "Hey, we noticed that you bounce between the TC 2000 and the Thinkorswim. Is there better information that you get one from the other? Is it a personal preference?"
It's because I can't put everything I want on TC 2000. My programs as are my favorite. Okay, I'll tell you why. I'll tell you the truth. You caught me red-handed. I can't get AlphaZone Pro and Pro Trader Dashboard to work on TC 2000,
Okay,
and so I am slave to
the
Thinkorswim
Thinkorswim.
because I
Okay,
love my Pro Trader Dashboard and I love my AlphaZone Pro
okay,
and I love my scanners. And the funny thing is, I can't get them to work on TC 2000 now. Now, with that said, TC 2000 is really, really good for swing trading information, like pulling the anchor really quick or drawing trend lines. It's really so for all of my for all you know how I always tell you all of my day trades, all of the stuff I do in the short term, I have to start out with a swing.
swing. Yes.
I find them all with my TC 2000. I draw my trend lines and do that. And then when I go into basically, I see if I like a girl using TC 2000. When I'm ready to talk to her, I put on my Thinkorswim.
Okay.
That's the best way I can explain it to you. When I'm driving down the street and I'm looking for that hot blonde, which I married 25 years ago, to save me from any uh, uh,
Recriminations.
I'll exactly. That's right. I'll use TC 2000 because it's very fast, it's quick, it's instant, it's user friendly, it's for dummies like me. Okay. But then when I want to get real in depth, when I want to impress her with my, I don't even know
Savoir
what,
faire.
yeah, whatever the hell it is. Then exactly. Then I'm gonna use my TOS. Now Matt, he's a tech guy. He loves Thinkorswim. You could do everything in Thinkorswim. It just takes a little more effort. Go ahead, Matt. Show them the way of the world.
All right. So on Thinkorswim, you have to go add the study and then just start typing anchored. It'll be right there. You want the one with the lock. Anything with the scroll and then the lock is something that T Thinkorswim develops in house. And then if it doesn't have it, it's custom. So you just add that one and then come into the settings and put in your date. So you want to anchor to the first of the year. And there it is. It's not super easy. It's not like point and click, but it's not too bad.
So you see why I use TC 2000?
But once you do that, it is on the chart at that
Oh
point in
yeah,
time,
yeah, yeah. They
anchored
just
to
changed
the
the date.
first of the year.
By
Exactly.
the way, bar chart does it exactly like this too. You just have to know your date ahead of time. You go there. I mean, if you know how to do it, it takes an extra 2 seconds.
Hmm.
But
And you can anchor the swing lows. You can anchor swing highs.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah. By the way, TradingView makes it as easy as TC 2000. Just F that. Again, I'm not, folks. It's a preference thing. It's a preference thing. I mean, look, if you take all my stuff away from me and give me a clean chart, I could probably make it work too. I, it, it's again, it's just tools that we've been using, and they will not make you or break you as a trader. This will, your mind will, not these charts. And again, I'm just being honest with you.
Sure.
So
And
now
the
you
other thing
understand.
is this, I just
Yes,
want to let
yes.
people know because there's a bunch of questions coming up here. Folks, Google really is your friend. You can go to Google and ask them the question, how do I anchor a VWAP in Thinkorswim? And up comes a ton of information. So don't be afraid to Google your questions because they're great. The new AI, everything's chat GPT now, but they do a fantastic job. And as Mike Bernard just said, so is YouTube. Ton of
Oh yeah, YouTube
information
is
that's
great.
out there.
The
Absolutely.
videos, by the way, that's a very good point. The videos on if you go to YouTube and you type in specifically think or swim, like setup guide, basic instructions. I watched like 4 years ago. I watched these like half-hour episodes by these guys, and honestly, even a schmo like me had a good understanding of the basics for like a few days till I forgot it. um there's some really good ones out there, really, like not the ones that like let me show you how to make $1 million using thinkorswim, but like
Right.
let me
Yeah.
show you how to set up thinkorswim. There's some great ones. So again, but that's how you do it. That's how you do it. Okay.
Great.
um
And Roger, that basically was what I had for that segment.
Okay, perfect. All right, so now, let me now start out. And folks, the reason we covered a lot of ground yesterday, and we had a lot of questions, and I don't mind spending a lot of time on this. Okay, so we just happened to not get through everything, but there was a lot more on my agenda. I'm gonna go ahead and just continue going through it. And if we don't get through it today, then we'll get through it tomorrow. Again, I don't have an agenda. I don't have an end goal here. So today I want to talk about the difference between scanning for short-term setups using ProTrader Dashboard and scanning for overnight trades using the ProTrader Dashboard. I want to talk about that first, okay? Because there's two different distinctions and there's two different ways that I do it. So I want to go through them with you right now. So let me pull up my scanner, and just for purpose of making my life easier, with the market being where it is right now, I'm really not interested in scanning for shorts, but I actually want to scan for longs, and that way we could scan for more longs, and then odds are may actually even find something we want to take. So we're going to do the long side today, but everything I'm showing you works to the short side. I usually show you both sides, but I really don't want to go short right now. I really don't want to go short right now. So let's just be a little more real and show you things that are actually in play right now. So here's how I do it, okay? So I have my scanner. My scanner is loading up right now. It's going to calculate. This is the ProTrader dashboard. We're going to be using a combination of.
By the way, Roger, we're not seeing your screen.
Oh. Well, that's not good. Okay, sorry about that. Thanks
Yeah,
for
no
letting me
problem.
know, or I would be making an ass out of myself for the next half hour.
We're good. That's perfect. We see your scanner now.
Okay, perfect. So you guys could see my scanner. You could see that I'm calculating 5 minutes. Now, what I'm calculating for my swings that are short term and my swings that are overnight, I'm going to call them short term, long term. Okay, or overnight means long term, short means day trades. Okay, or intended to be starting off as day trades. Okay, so just so you don't get confused. So I use the 5 minute, but I start out. So for the day trade, I use the 5 minute. For the overnight, I use hourly. But I start out at the same place for both. And I'll tell you when we start to diverge. So the first thing I will do is, and I'm going to show you an easy way to do this, okay? A real easy way to do this. So I pull up my TC 2000, okay? And I have a scanner right here. And scanner is exactly built to simulate my stock fetcher scanner, my 50-day high, 90-day high. It just assumes that whatever the price is at right now is the closing price of the day. 12 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 1 o'clock, 3 o'clock. So the current price, it just assumes that's the closing price. That way, I don't have to search for highs. I could just search for closes, and I like closings anyway. It's a little more consistent. So I go through my scanner, very, very simple. And I go through my scanner, and just right here, here's the 50 days, and here's the 90 days. And I go through all of them, and I have my volume, and I have all that, and I go through them, and I come up with a list. Okay. But the list I get comes from here. Now, you can replicate the scanner on Stock Fetcher, which I give you the link for, and I do it every morning. You can replicate it in TC2000. You can replicate it in Thinkorswim. All I'm doing is looking at 50-day highs, 90-day highs, 52-week highs, and 20-week highs, and I'm treating and I want to see the high based on the closing price. That's all I'm doing. It's not complicated. It's a very simple scanner. Okay, I don't like complicated scanners. So then I start coming to the stock. Now, remember, we haven't done anything different, and I don't know right now whether I'm going to be day trading this stock or swing trading this stock. Okay, so at this point, I mark up all these stocks, and I have a list of stocks. Okay, so the first step, after I have this list that I already have, and I'll go through this list with you, or if we have time. But the first thing I do, actually, my list is right here. All right, here's my list. The first thing I do is I'm mindful of volume. Now, I can take a look at volume right here. And I'll know right here, and I'll know right here within 1/10 of a second if it's unusually high volume or not. Most of you cannot do that. So you will have to use a tool called the Pro Trader Dashboard. So, and that can tell you right away without you thinking, look, we're at 171, it's 1227, and we're at 171% of today's on average daily volume. Do you guys think the volume is high? Yes, it's very, very high.
Right.
And remember what I told you, if one of these is green, then the odds are volume is higher than normal. So you have this and you have this. Now this is where the first distinction comes for day trading versus swing trading. No, Krish, I can't. But I could send you the code in Stock Fetcher. He's asking me if I can post the conditions for the scanner. In the members area, there's a code written in Stock Fetcher. Why don't you just write it down, put it in Stock Fetcher, scan a couple, and then match it into any platform you want? Not a bad idea, right, Krish? It's not a secret scanner, and I give it to you and I give everybody the Stock Fetcher code for free. Okay, and it's been in the members area for 6 years now, maybe 7. And I haven't changed one tick of it in that amount of time. Talk about consistency, right? Okay. So the first thing I do is I ask myself, do we have high volume? Why does it matter? Because if I'm going to day trade, I want the volume to be high. If I'm swing trading, I don't care if the volume is high. It won't make any difference to me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to note the stocks on my list that have higher than usual volume and stocks that don't have higher than usual volume. Okay? That's the first thing we're going to do, and you should write this down. Roger checks to see. So he's got a list of stocks. So look, he went in the morning to his Stock Fetcher, went right here, and he added a whole bunch of stocks to his list. See? He got them right here. And here's the code for you right here, buddy. There's the secret code right here. It's a whole 4 lines of code. And I found the stocks that I like. They're all from here. And then during the day, they're from the only reason why I don't use this during the day is because it's 10 minutes delayed or 15 minutes delayed. I think it's actually 10, but or whatever, 20 minutes. So before the market opens, what do I care? It could be 5 hours delayed. It won't make any difference to me. But after the market opens, I have the same thing as this in TC 2000. So in real time, and that's right here, you see, right here. But I also have this little tool here that's called volume buzz. So I could see which of the stocks are buzzing, which gives me the equivalent of this.
Yeah.
In its own way. And again, one of the things I don't want you to get caught up in, this is, and I get caught up in everything, okay? Don't get caught up in things that I get caught up in. For example, if you see volume at 173%, but none of these are red or green, that's okay. That's fine. If you see one of these is green, but this is at 50% and it's noon, that's okay. If you see volume buzz here on any of these beyond red, that's okay. That means higher than normal volume. Don't get caught up. It's not as important as those small caps in the morning. We just want to know, is volume a little higher than usual or it's average? And remember, we're trading large caps, so it's never going to be really low. And also, maybe the market has low volume that day. If the market has low volume that day, your stocks will have lower volume that day. Remember, your stocks are children of the bigger ocean. There's a fish in the ocean. If the ocean doesn't move, your fish doesn't move. If the ocean's dirty, your fish dies. So that you got to always think that way. They're just fish in the ocean. All right, so let's continue here. So very simple. So I just showed you 5 different ways to get exactly the same result. So again, the question is, are we day trading or are we swing trading? That's the difference, and that's what the scanner is going to be. That's what this scanner is going to help us decide in a minute. But we gotta warm up. We gotta get there. We don't just go head for the scanner. We don't just ask someone to marry us. We warm up to that time. We maybe become a roomie with them for a couple of months. Feel them out a little bit. That's what we're doing here. All right. You don't want to pull a Pamela Anderson, Tommy Lee. You know what I mean? That thing didn't work out so well. I gotta have a little fun here too.
He's a drummer,
All right.
right?
So then after I find, and what I do is I put a little check mark. Higher volume, no volume. Higher. What I usually do is I'll put a star or I'll circle it if it's got higher than usual volume. So now, if it doesn't have higher than usual volume, it doesn't mean I'm not going to swing it, but it does mean I'm not going to day trade it. I want the higher than usual volume. Okay, now, I've got my list of stocks. I know which ones have high volume. Now, the big guns come up. The Pro Trader dashboard comes up. Now, I go here, and I start asking myself 2 things. First, which stocks did I miss? And B, are any of my stocks on this list? The 5-minute scan. Like, for example, I'm really hot and heavy on HCA. Okay, really, let me show you why I'm really hot and heavy on HCA. The spreads are wide. I would have already given it to you guys twice today. Let me show you. Have you ever seen a more beautiful trend? Look at the daily. Look at the intraday and look at the daily. No overlap, hardly any wicks. This is beauty right here. That's a 9.5, 10. So when I have a stock like this on my list, right there, HCA, right there, HCA. And it pops up here. And oh yeah, how far down do I go? Not far. I usually go like I would say maybe, I don't know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, about 20. About 20 stocks. You don't need to go further. And you start paying attention. First, are any of your stocks on this list? That's number one. Number one, are any of your stocks on this list? And two, you go back here and you say, well, I'm not perfect. Maybe I missed some stuff. So you start at the top. Dix. Nope, not good. Nice intraday action. Not good daily. We want the daily to be good too. CRC. Too choppy. Not a bad daily chart, but way too choppy. DXCM. Oh, ugly. Rostore. Ooh, oh my. Ooh, that's a beauty right there. Didn't have it on my list either. Let me make sure. Nope, did not have it on my list. That's a beauty right there. Let's look at intraday. See, I don't even look at how it's doing intraday now let's look at intraday. That looks very nice. That's very nice. That's very, very nice. Let's see if there's volume in it. No volume. Not a swing, not a day trade, but maybe a swing trade. We'll keep it on note. And by the way, it's just got a breakout signal as we speak with profit targets. Thank you, Pro Trader Dashboard. Nice trade, by the way, but volume is not high right now. Are you still in the short, Matt?
Yep.
Whew. Matt's having one of those days today.
Yeah, not a good one.
Huh?
Not a great one.
Great. Hey, not every day is going to be a great one. Okay, let's continue. Let's continue. So we already found one, and we only, and look, it's even gaining strength. So what am I going to do? I'm going to put a little star by it, and then at the end of the day, at 3 o'clock, I'm going to switch over to the hourly scanner, and I'm going to see if this baby is still up here. And if it does, that's a great swing trade. Now, why is this a great swing trade? Well, it's breaking out as we speak. It's a beautiful, beautiful stock. We're still in the gap. We're filling the gap, but we're breaking out here. We have about another 1.5 to the upside till we get up to this level. We got upside. We're breaking out price action. The ATR is at 311. We're not 1.5 standard deviation from the 1.5 from the ATR. This is a nice trade. We were able to find within just and look at what the number one stock right now on the Pro Trader Dashboard is. Look how Dix and Ross are fighting it out. Let's see what Dix is doing. Now, notice something interesting. Are Dix and Ross in the same sector? Retail clothing.
Yeah.
They're retail clothing. They're about as close as it's going to get. Do you guys think institutions are buying right now, retailers? Yes, they are. You can't stay up here without it being bought by Think about it. This is competing with all of these stocks for buyers. Look, Skechers is right here. Point is, Shopify is right here. That's a small store add-on for your website that allows you to purchase. That's what people who are small mom and pop stores, that's what they use as shopping carts. There's money coming into retail right now. You don't have to be an Einstein to figure it out. If you have to notice, I didn't have these stocks on my list before, and Dix is not a good looking stock. I would never buy it here. But it's giving me confirmation that money's coming into retail. Just like yesterday, money was coming into these stocks. Remember these stocks? They were at the top of our list yesterday. I mentioned it to you. I said,
and American Eagle was on fire this morning, and Macy's was doing well.
But yesterday, remember the home builders?
Oh, yeah, home builders.
Remember remember yesterday while we had this demonstration, I showed you the home builders?
Mm-hmm.
And they're up. I said, I wonder if it's a coincidence. Pulte, DHI, KB Homes, they were all being bought by KB Homes. They were all being accumulated by funds yesterday, and they're all up nicely. Very nicely. There's no coincidences, folks, in Wall Street. Just information that you're not seeing. Point is, I think by now you're getting a really good information. So what I do is, so what do all of these setups have in common? All of them, day trades and swing trades, they have to have an amazing daily chart. If they don't have an amazing daily chart, I'm not interested in even thinking about it. The 5-minute chart is the same thing as an option for me. It's almost a conclusionary. Now, Roger, where does the market play into this? Where does the market play into this? Well, that's a good question. The market plays into this in whether I'm going to look for entry on breakouts or pullbacks. What kind of pullbacks? What are you talking about? Okay. If I'm looking at a 5-minute chart and I'm day trading, and this usually happens during the day, I'm going to want to pull back to the VWAP. Okay. Before looking for an entry. If I'm swing trading and I'm looking for a swing trade, I'll more likely than not look for a pullback to the 8-day EMA.
Mm-hmm.
And if I'm swing trading, I really don't care what the intraday chart looks like because I'm not relying on it. And again, now, what if my day trade goes wrong? Then I'm going to cheat and rely on the daily chart and treat it like a swing trade. And that works really well because the daily got me into this trade. Roger, is that why you don't look? Is that why you never make big decisions before the end of the day usually? Yes, because if I'm relying on the daily chart, how do I know how the daily chart is going to look till the end of the day? Duh. See, it's very consistent. I don't know at 9 o'clock, 9:30, 10 o'clock, and 11 in the morning how the daily chart's going to look. And remember, I'm always relying on the daily chart. The daily chart is my friend. Then, if I'm day trading, where does volume come into play? Where's the VWAP? Okay, and again, you can't do all this. Now, I'll tell you what my favorite setup is. Okay, I'll tell you. So I wanted to show you that, and we're want to show you my favorite setup of all time. Okay, this is my favorite setup. So I've got my scan, I got my watch list. I'm looking at stocks. I got all the stocks here and all of the stocks here, and I know exactly. And I have my five or six stocks that I'm really focused in on, and they're moving like this, just like this. Or let's put another one on. They're moving like this. They're just moving. I got my A+ stock right here. I have my 5-minute chart that looks amazing right here. Okay. And I'm looking here. I find that stock, and the stock is moving just like this. Or like right now, like Ross is. Let's just do Ross store. Hell, Ross. Okay. Let's just stick with Ross. Okay. I found my stock. I'm ready to buy. The stock is moving exactly like this on the daily and on the 5-minute chart. That beautiful stock, which I'm actually thinking of buying. Let me go back to and you could see that it's the #1 stock on the dashboard, and it's a beauty. It's got a great daily. It's got a great intraday. This is a winning. Even if I'm wrong on the trade, this is an A+ type of setup. Okay. So now, what's my favorite type of setup? I'm sitting here. I found the stock. It's right here. I look at the SPY like this, and I want to see. Hold on, I got QQQ here. I got to change this to SPY. And I wait for a solo candle on the SPY. So the SPY is doing this, obviously. It's moving up. And I wait for one like this. I wait for a candle like this. And what you will see is you'll see a stock like this do something like this. And that's when I get in. So I'm basically getting in, like right now, if we were sitting here and we saw the SPY move down, and like say Trump said something, I don't know, whatever he said, Trump says something or some news gets come, and we see the SPY make a solo like this, this kind of a thing right here, I would not hesitate and jump into this stock. Somewhere between the 15-day EMA right here on the 5-minute and the VWAP right there. And that right there, folks, is my highest probability setup. And now, remember, volume, super important. How would I have found Raw Store without this? How would I have found it? It wasn't on my list. It wasn't on my scanner. So I would say it's right there. And again, anywhere above here is fine. Doesn't have to be all the way here. As a matter
Yeah,
of
and
fact,
that's
when I
moving
would
in real time, as people can see here. This is always adjusting itself.
oh, this is fighting. These are fighting for this is being fought in real time for what the institutions are accumulating right now in real time. The problem is if you just rely on this, you're just wasting your time.
Yeah, as you showed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the see, that's the problem. You learn something, someone teaches you something, they put out a 5-minute video. They say, "Ooh, I sit and watch this all day long, and this is my bread and butter." And they're not lying to you. And then they're like, "Okay, and that's all." And they don't tell you the rest of it. No, I don't do that. I tell you the whole everything. I'm peeling back all the way to the beginning. So yes, this is extremely useful if you apply a couple, just like you know how I always teach you guys how how little things can make a big difference. Like think about a Bloody Mary. If Bloody Mary, take out the salt and take out the pepper out of a Bloody Mary. Nobody would be drinking Bloody Marys. Or how about making Bloody Marys warm? You change one thing about a Bloody Mary, and then nobody wants it anymore. You see what? It's the same thing with.
Right.
It's the same thing with trades. Everything has to line up. It's not one thing. It's all of the things together. But this makes it really easy for you. This tool that gives you the profit targets. Now, this is raw store in real time. That was the entry signals, the arrows,
Yep.
whether it's outperforming the SPY, whether it's performing sectors, whether momentum on 3 different time frames is cooperating. The only thing it doesn't have is volume. The only thing this thing doesn't have is volume. But it's got everything else going its way, including relative strength. By the way, AFL, another retailer. Do you guys think retailers are being bought today? Gee, I wonder. Let's think about it. Are you how else are you going to get this information? That's why I love the Pro Trader dashboard. Now, I'm going to show you a class. I did this yesterday. Today's the last day. Now, they told me in the back office that we have 9 spots left. We had 30 yesterday or 20 something. We have 9 spots left. I don't know how we have 9 spots left because I counted all the spots yesterday and anyway, the point is the point of this exercise is we have literally, and I'm going to say 9. I don't think it's 9, but they say it's 9, so I'm going to say 9 spots. I think what they have, Raleigh, I think what they do is I think they calculate the number right after we finish the webinar.
Right.
And I don't think they counted the remaining day and night. So whatever, but 9, I'll go with 9. Folks, if you haven't heard this yet, if you haven't seen this yet, I highly recommend you do. Today is definitely the last day we're doing this. I just spoke to the back office. This is the last day I'm doing this. This is the last day to save a lot of money. This is the last day to get in on this and start using a tool that I rely on every single moment of the day.
Of the day.
Okay? Every single moment of the day, literally.
So Roger, some questions that came up during this last segment, and there were a number of them. And by the way, I want to thank people in the chat panel for jumping in and answering many of the questions that came up, because there's a lot of people that are very knowledgeable about the program. But one of the top questions was, I think everybody appreciated that you've got this process that you go through, and then the scanner is a way that you go ahead and firm things up. So it begs the question, Roger, could somebody do that in reverse? For example, start with the scanner, then pull up the stock, and then look at the technicals to see, does this make sense or do I move on?
That's a great question. As a matter of fact, I do. Not only do we do it, that's how I found Raw Store. I didn't find so this morning,
right.
Just so everybody knows, Raw Store is not on my watch list. I know I can't prove it to you, but I'm assuming you're going to believe me. It's not on this list. Okay. It's not. As a matter of fact, hold on. I'll show you something. Look, let me show you guys something. I can actually prove it to you because I post my watch list every day with a timestamp, and here it is. So you could see it right here.
Yeah, because I
I have
remember
this.
when you brought up the scanner, you said you want to scan to see if there's something on your list or maybe if there's
This is
something not.
I get a
Yeah.
reminder. I get an auto reminder, right? And these are the stocks that I posted at 11:14. This is my watch list. Ross Store is not on my long list. So as I was going through my stocks this morning, I went through them, and then I said, "Let's look at the scanner." And then the second or third stock I found was Ross Store, and I was like, "Ooh, this looks beautiful." So so uh, so yes, absolutely, 100%. As a matter of fact, I don't. If you want me to be really truthful with you, I don't even. How can I say this? I don't even know where I start. I just know that here's what all I know is this. I
I
have
know.
this. I have the Pro Trader dashboard. I'm like, okay, let's see what's hot here. All right, let's see. Oh, it's the same ones. So I don't really like even pay attention to. I showed it to you guys in a very uniformed way,
Yes, you
right?
did.
But
Yeah.
I don't. But think about this. I'm doing this all day long. So
Yeah.
the way I actually did it is the way I do it live. Like I'm like, oh, okay, let's now see what's up on the Pro Trader dashboard. I
Yep.
put TC 2000 next to it, and I pulled up like four stocks, and Ross Store was like the fourth one. I'm like, oh, that's a beauty.
Hmm.
Goes on my list. So the list it gets revised, it gets upgraded. So I'm constantly going back and forth. See, I have my TC 2000 on the laptop. So I have my scanner on my desktop.
Okay.
So and it's on so my desktop, my laptop is right here, my desktop scanners are right here to the left of me. So I'm when I'm not on camera, and obviously Matt never talks to me, I'm just here looking at my TC 2000, going to a chat, going through the Pro Trader dashboard. But my best trades that are imminent, that are instant, are the ones from the Pro Trader dashboard because
Dashboard.
those are in play right now. In order for me to find it, it has to be the top 20 stock. Otherwise, I won't even look for it. So if I can find a stock there that's doing exactly what I want it, see, a stock there will always work
Yeah.
on a 5-minute chart. Otherwise, it wouldn't be in the top 20. That means you have a nice intraday move. So now, does everything else line up? Do I have the daily? So I go backwards, I go forward, I go sideways. I'm always, but you know what the interesting thing is? No matter where I start or end, I'll find exactly the same stocks, which really is the key. But yeah, to answer your question, I do it all the time. I did it today, and I do it throughout the day all the time.
All the time. The
Yeah,
other takeaway that I had from this, Roger, which was interesting, just watching your process, because you have more tools than I do, for example, but it basically all came to the fact that it's all there on the dashboard. I mean,
yeah,
it really is. The
yes,
Pro Trader dashboard gives you everything. And I think you did a great job of showing us where the things that you look on the T2000, TC2000 are, you can find them on the dashboard. I know we
right.
got to move on, but there was another question that I thought that was interesting. Roger, when you talked about the ideal setup, and you basically said you saw an entry signal that was based on a large candle because it represented like a news shock of some kind. Is your belief there that it's a news shock and it's going to recover and it's going to go back into trend? Is that what you like so much about that?
Solo candles. That's
Yeah,
solo
solo
candles.
candles.
Solo
Yeah.
candles. Solo candles. Yeah, solo candles. Basically, what solo candles are most of the time. Remember, I told you guys yesterday, I told you the story of how algos are stupid. They're
Yeah.
dumber than us and how they
Yes.
repeat news and all that. Well, when that happens, you'll see that's a solo candle. Algos trigger those candles. And usually, not always, but 80% of the time, especially if those candles happen during the day, they don't have any follow through. So, but at the same time, they'll remember this is what most people don't understand. And I want to explain this to you. Institutions don't buy one stock or two stocks. They buy baskets and sell baskets. They press a button, they have a basket, and the basket has, say, 15, 20, 30 stocks. Those 20, 30 stocks happen to be in every mutual fund. If those stocks are sold off, other stocks that are not being sold off will be sold off too. That's why all of your stocks are so darn correlated to each other. So it's really important to keep in mind that why do we gauge everything to the S&P 500? Because even if you're not in a stock that's being directly sold, it's going to be in a mutual fund or an ETF that's being indirectly sold. And if the ETF has Google in it and you're in it and Google sells, your stock will sell off too. They're all part of the same, they're all part of the same ocean. You understand? It's like the ocean. If you have fish in an ocean and the waves start going back and forth, all the fish are going to get stressed out. If the water's calm, all the fish are going to be calm. Stocks are exactly the same way. They are part of that ecosystem. They're not separate. They're not on their own. A lot of folks don't seem to get this through their head. They think that Google and Microsoft are different stocks. They're halfway the same stock. You see, people just don't from a trading perspective, not from a fundamental perspective.
Right.
So you got to start looking at things a little differently from if you are a trader. Okay, a trader. And last time I checked, that's all we do here.
That's true. Roger, fantastic. Thank you so much. You've answered so many of the questions that came up. And once again, I do want to thank everybody in the room for also assisting Roger and Matt and me, because many of you are well versed on how to do this and you answered people's questions, which was great. Do appreciate that. So, Roger, I guess we need to let the people in the YouTube channel know that we're about ready to switch over to Zoom.
And Matt needs to post a link for them there.
Okay.
So, Matt, would you post them a link and give them about a 5-minute window? All right. You see how enthusiastic he is about that?
Top of the hour. Hey, it's a big thing, you get to post a link.
Yes. Please, folks, if you want to see something really cool, and by the way, this is the last day I'm doing this, and it's not a scarcity tactic. I know for a fact that this is the last day I'm doing this. So if you want to learn something, if you want to take some notes, and if you want to save a lot of money, then you're in the right place. I'll make it quick and easy and effective. And again, if you snooze, you will lose. We've had a very good win rate. By the way, today we took, just to give you an update on today's trades, we took a winner in GE. We took a winner in ANET. We took a winner in GLW from yesterday from the pit. Some people didn't get out yesterday, so they got out today. And we took a nice winner on HPE time spread. And we took a loser on MP. We took a loser in MP in the pit. Which doesn't happen very often, but we took a loser. It was a nasty trade.
Right.
Nasty. It was just a nasty stock. It didn't go our way, so we got out of it. So just wanted to give you an update before we begin, folks.
Yeah, and there were a couple other last quick questions that came in here, Roger. I know people are squeezing under, but that's okay because we have a couple of minutes here. Bob says, Roger, once again, when do you switch to the 1 hour scan? I think you said it was 3 p.m.
Yes.
If you're looking at a stock as a possible swinger.
Yes.
At 3 p.m. And the other one was, this was another Christopher. A bunch of people asked this question. Where does Roger get the S&P 500 plus the top stocks on the scan? Is that a setting of some kind, Roger? In other words, like I guess Ross is not an S&P 500 stock, but it came up on.
No, that's a good question. That's a great question. So when we first launched the Pro Trader dashboard, I just put S&P 500 stocks, but I wasn't getting all the stocks because we trade a lot of, as somebody just pointed out, non-S&P stocks. So I added a filter that gave me like 750 or 800. I think it maybe even up to 900 stocks. So I added all the high volume stocks that are priced over $20 that are not in the S&P, and they've been added to the scanner. They are also part of that was actually like the first thing I did to the Pro Trader dashboard.
Okay. And so once again, folks, for all of you that are out there, I know we have made some significant changes to the Pro Trader dashboard, including, for example, the Master Blaster Disaster. And just make sure that you've got the latest version of the Pro Trader dashboard running. You just have to reload it, and then you'll have all the latest and greatest stuff.
Right. All right, folks. So now I'm going to go through this. And again, this is the last time. They told me that there's 9 spots left. But again, I think